Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the Star Wars sequel trilogy, the Disney Star Wars sequel trilogy, because even though Disney and Hasbro and other licensees have long since moved on,
Right.
because, you know, it didn't make a lot of money for them, right, compared to what they thought it was going to make. The media keeps bringing it up.
The media does, especially Soraya Wilson on Twitter.
Yeah.
She keeps supposedly having these interviews that you only ever see her tweets about. But I mean, I believe she had them. But it's just interesting. She keeps going on about it, and it's hilarious because she seems to be a Raylo.
Yeah.
And she stands. She admits that she stands Rian Johnson, which blah. Anyway. She keeps putting this stuff out there, and I think what her intention is to be like, haha, in your face, but all she's doing is confirming what a lot of the fans have been saying forever, and they got a lot of shit for. And all she's doing is confirming this.
Now, it should go without saying, but we're going to say it anyway. Do not contact anybody we talk about in this video. We do not want anyone to be harassed or badgered or anything. We're just pointing out public information.
Right.
She is a journalist. She is writing and talking an awful lot about the sequels, which Disney themselves, we're going to talk about that later. They've moved on.
Right.
They moved on.
And I mentioned that in this article. But yeah, so she keeps going on about this. Well, yesterday was one thing, today it's another. We'll start with this one because it's pull it up. So apparently she interviewed Daisy Ridley, and part of her interview, I'm taking the control here. Part of her interview was confirming what everybody thought. Daisy Ridley wasn't told that Palpatine was going to be anywhere in any of these movies until Rise of Skywalker. Contrary to what Kathleen Kennedy and a bunch of Lucasfilm people tried to tell people when fans pointed out, there was absolutely no indication of this.
Well, Colin Trevorrow's treatment didn't have Palpatine in it either.
No, because there wasn't. Because Snoke was supposed to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then dipshit Johnson went and killed him off, which that's another thing what he talks about.
Dipshit Johnson. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. A long time.
No, it's a name you hear all the time because the media won't shut up about it. Because he went and killed off the bad guy, and then they pretty much you can trace the complete failure of Star Wars to the Last Jedi, and his choices led to this. But people kept saying, you're just doing this for fan service, and then everybody who loved the Last Jedi were pissed because they went and did fan service, and the people that they'd already pissed off with the Last Jedi didn't care. But she basically confirmed that it wasn't set up to be a Palpatine.
No.
She goes, I literally was told that she was no one. So yeah, I understand that. I do understand that. I apologize again for bringing up Star Wars. Okay. Just in case people aren't putting the tweets together, she said for the first 2 months, or movies, she was told that Rey was no one.
Yeah, which, they could have just run with that, and it probably would have been fine. She really didn't have to be anyone. An interesting character, making her an interesting character would have gone a lot further.
Right, I mean, because you don't have to, there are a lot of Jedi that came from different places. It didn't have to be someone. I mean, that wasn't, one of the things that was required. But they went and did this, and then by doing so, they end up making it the Palpatine saga. Not even the Skywalker saga.
Yeah, so, spoiler, the movie's been out for over a year. So yeah, Rey winds up with everything. So basically the Palpatine destroys the Skywalkers and winds up taking the Skywalker name. So the Palpatines win. Bad guys win.
Yeah. But now she's supposedly good now.
Oh, okay.
So, but she confirmed.
Never trust a Palpatine.
She supposedly confirmed this. And it's like, one, this isn't new. But people have said before that she made comments like this before. But it's interesting because this Soraya Wilson keeps trying to, if you see her Twitter, she keeps trying to make comments. I told my husband, who's not into indie fandom, about Kelly Marie Tran's article and how she was chased off social media for her char. Supposed to be a character, I'm assuming. Him flabbergasted. First of all, Rose isn't real. And second of all, she didn't control the story. Why would anybody attack her? And third of all, I'm going to add, people didn't attack her for that reason. Most people understood that Kelly Marie Tran herself had no control over the story, and they did her wrong by making Rose the way they made her. That was not on Kelly Marie Tran, and most people will admit that. Just again, maybe some people harassed her, but that wasn't the majority of people. So you keep holding on to that lie. If you tell it enough times, it's still a lie. It doesn't make it true. I
don't understand why people can't. It's over. Disney's even over it. Hasbro's over it.
They're not even mentioning it. And then Rian Johnson everybody was talking about him because he was, and it was through the Soraya again that was saying that he still was getting his trilogy. But Lucasfilm and Disney have not confirmed that. And actually, we're hearing back channel that they doubt that that's going to happen because a lot of them blame him for a lot of the shit.
You had it right the first time. They heard it from the back end.
Yeah.
Talking out of one's ass. Wishful thinking.
We're hearing that that's not true, and Disney and Lucasfilm aren't confirming it. However, the one thing that she brought up again, because she keeps milking these interviews for like weeks. It's hilarious how she's just trying to get attention so bad. So I'm going to give her the attention. I'm going to bring up her tweets and give her what she wants. So then with her tweets, I don't think she meant it this way, but this is my takeaway from it. Rian Johnson low-key confirms that the Star Wars Secret Trilogy story changes as it went along. You know how the fans have been saying that, there's no overarching story. It's all over the damn place. He ruined with Last Jedi. He basically, wrapped up or killed off all the story plot points from the first one. And then what are we going to do with the third one?
Yeah. I mean, they don't have...
It's what we've all been saying.
Yeah, exactly. That there was no... I mean, the one job Kathleen Kennedy had, and you could do it on fucking Post-it notes, right? Is just sit down and just outline the basics of what happens. Like, even when they did the original trilogy, George Lucas did the original trilogy, a lot of details changed, right? But there was still kind of sort of a basic structure.
At least know the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Yeah.
And the major plot points.
What's going to happen to these characters? What is Rey's story? George Lucas knew Luke Skywalker's story was he was a farm boy who became a Jedi and redeemed his father.
He was in, he wasn't a nobody, but you know what I mean? The idea was.
Right. What's Rey's story? I still don't know what Rey's story is.
I don't either. So this person in her interview with Rian Johnson, she's been milking for weeks, brought up that he said that it was just handed off. Because she's like, did you know that Ben was going to die when you were making The Last Jedi? Did you know from the beginning? And he's like, no, I did not. Me irritated because I realized that killing Ben Solo was not always the plan. Well, it sucks not get what you want, Soraya. Join the club. He knows it's my expression and a sigh of disgust. That's okay. We just give you sighs of disgust all the time. And laughingly asked me what it was for, and I told him I had a lot of feelings about the ending, and then showed him my Ben Solo deserved better t-shirt, which made him laugh more.
Oh, God.
And then I was reading that. And then he explained that it was very much a full handoff between 7 and 8, just as it was from 8 to 9.
Which should not have been the case.
No, it shouldn't have been the case.
That should not have been the case.
We also heard, when this was going on, that while they were filming The Force Awakens, Rian Johnson was writing the treatment for The Last Jedi, but they weren't meeting up and talking about it. Remember, we talked about that a few times.
This is like, how? This is why I still don't understand. I will never understand. How do you spend $4 billion on what was, at the time, the most valuable science fiction franchise, fantasy franchise on the planet, and manage to fuck it up so badly and such an incompetent way? Literally, all you had to do was sit down and just basic outlines for 3 movies.
So
that's it.
Whoever was directing that movie knew what the main plot points were and what they could work around.
Right.
Okay. So this is what it goes on to. She's like, Rian did his best to tee up a bunch of things and tried to bring 8 to a point where there were lots of places the story could go. Where, Rian? Where did you do that? Because the questions everybody had was like, who's Snoke? Where did he come from? He's the villain. Oh, he gets killed off like a punk for no reason.
Yeah, I'm like, he tied off every plot thread, so they had to make new plot threads, so that's why they brought back Palpatine.
Where did they get Luke's lightsaber from? I'm like,
read the comics, buy the books. Buy the comics, buy the books.
After the fact, when it all blew up on their faces. Bullshit, you left a lot of ways for it to go. You did not. That was part of the problem. And
Colin Trevorrow's version was radically different from the J.J. Abrams version. Actually, I'm going to be honest, from what I've heard of Trevorrow's version, I would have preferred that because at least they kind of rolled with the damage it was done instead of trying to walk it all back.
Right.
It's like you work with what you got, but they tried to walk it back, and then you got this movie that was just a clusterfuck that
you let Rian
nobody cared
do
about.
what he wanted, knowing it was going to be a big middle finger to the old fans. You knew that. And then your answer was, oh shit, when the money, contrary to what the media said, the money was not coming in. It dropped off a cliff after a couple of weeks in the theaters. The toys weren't selling. So Lucasfilm's like, shit, we got to do something to fix it. And at that point, then they try to put the genie back in the bottle, which you can't do. And then it just pissed off all the new fans you had. So then you made nobody happy.
Yeah. I've never, I mean, this is going to be Star Wars. Disney's handling of Star Wars is like new Coke levels of stupidity. Yeah, just stupid. It's new levels Coke of stupid. 20 years from now, people are going to be talking about, you know, the major missteps that Disney made with Star Wars. And God, I can't believe it. It's like, how are you that incompetent?
Right. I don't know, but they are. And I mean, like, ultimately it would come back to like Kathleen Kennedy and the story group, people who are supposed to be in charge of actual story over the course of this trilogy. So you have that, and that's going on. But then they keep going on about this in the media about Rian Johnson's trilogy. Nobody's saying that except Rian Johnson at this point. Lucasfilm, at least Disney, has stepped over all this. No one's talking about it. They're moving on to The Mandalorian and things people care about. We're going to talk about that in a minute. It's like, let the past die. Kill it if you have to. Karma's a bitch. It sucks when it comes back for you. But then there's this. Yeah.
So let's talk about this coming from John Price, Synergy Manager at Disney.
Yeah, they put the Showtime in Showtime Synergy. So they put this up on the Parks blog because it's Women's History Month, that they're going to do an unrivaled, unmatched, unequaled new female leads collection, and they go through some of the people that they're highlighting, and it's Elsa and Anna, Mulan, Moana, Hidden Figures. Jyn Erso, Ruby Bridges, and Jane Goodall. Notice that Rey is not being one of the ones they're focusing on.
That is curious because a lot of people who don't like Disney Star Wars still like Rogue One. They still like The Mandalorian. So it's very, very curious that Rey is missing.
Well,
where's Rey?
If they hadn't got rid of Gina Carano and they weren't mad at her right now, you better damn well believe they would have put, Cara Dune on there because they would have been putting her in a new show.
Well, we can talk about that.
We're going to talk about that because our friend, he knows who he is, sent over the Facebook link to me. It's like, look at the comments. Now, what's interesting was yesterday the comments are completely different than the comments are today. You will notice it says there's 131 comments. But when you actually put all comments, you only get a handful of comments. Yeah. All the other comments mysteriously disappeared or hidden. And I'll tell you what they were. They were a lot of Gina Carano, Cara Dune memes. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of Cara Dune memes and stuff that were put in place, GIFs, like that kind of stuff, the GIFs and stuff. There were a whole bunch of them put in there. A whole mess of people were putting that in there to make a point. And then today, well, poof, they're all gone. And there's supposed to be 131 comments, but you only can see this handful of comments, including this discussion right here.
Yeah, she was barely a side character. Well, it's a little bit of a different story on YouTube. Should we go out to YouTube?
Yep.
You know how we talked about before that angry Gina Carano fans were attacking the Star Wars YouTube channel? Well, they just put another video up talking about the Galaxy of Heroes, and look at all the comments.
What are the upvotes, downvotes, by the way?
1.3 thousand to 5.9 thousand downvotes. Yeah, so this is an ongoing issue that Disney's going to have to deal with.
Yep.
That the Star Wars YouTube channel is basically fucked at this point, because every time they post a video about anything, angry Gina Carano fans are coming in and giving them the finger.
Right. They tried to come in and take them on their Facebook page. They took those down. They hid them. And that we know from people talking about it that they do censor comments. They do try to delete them, try to take the downvotes down.
Yep.
They're trying to damage control. But instead of actually addressing the problems, they just keep ignoring it. And what's done's done. I mean, the truth of the matter is Gina Carano has already moved on to something else. So
I would never go back.
I don't think she would.
I'd be like, you threw me. People were like, oh, bring her back. I would never go back. I'd be like, you threw me under the wheels of the bus. And it wasn't fair because you didn't do it to the other people for saying essentially the same thing. So I'm done.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It wasn't what she said. It was the fact that if it was so wrong, why were other people allowed to say the similar things before her?
Yeah.
That's the issue. They're not going to bring her back. I don't know if she'd even come back. I'm not familiar with her. Maybe she would. I wouldn't.
I never would. I'd be like, screw it.
So, it's kind of like you're getting your point across. I think they're trying to get some changes. But, at the end of the day, the old news that the media keeps trying to bring into play are no longer even discussed.
So these are all, fire Kathleen Kennedy. We love Gina Carano. I just want to point this out. I am not signed in to YouTube, but these are the recommended videos for the Star Wars channel. All these Star Wars videos, Marvel videos, and then a former maid to Adolf Hitler interview.
What the heck?
And then the MCU and Ian McKellen. And I have no explanation why they're associating Hitler's maid with Lucasfilm. She had to clean up after Hitler. They got to clean up after Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know.
I mean, no, I'm not going to stand. I don't think cancel culture is okay. I don't think it's okay, even if I don't like Kathleen Kennedy, and I wish that they would get rid of her. I don't think it's right to be like, we're going to go out there and try to get her canceled any more than it's okay that they did to Gina Carano. So I'm not going to condone that in this situation. But it is funny to watch this go down because it's the same thing. They don't like it when you use their tactics against them.
Yeah, because they harass, use hashtags, harass until they get their own way. And then, that's justified. But if the opposing side does it, well, then they're just a bunch of Yahtzees.
Yeah.
They are.
And they're all putting the quote, "I'm not the only one that's ever been bullied by this company." And she's right. She's completely right. There's been a lot of people, I can tell you for a fact, that have been bullied by Disney.
We know exactly how they work. I've been privy to back channel discussions. I know how they work. Disney is, look, Mickey rules with a big white glove of fear. It is. It's you will get the white fist if you don't stay in line. And that is the truth. A lot of the employees there, they're crying behind the smiles. Mm-hmm. Sorry, you don't want to hear it, Pixie Dusters, but there's a lot of tension at the company, especially now since they're running out of money. Everybody has to perform or you're gone.
So, yep, it is what it is. But I just think it's hilarious that the media will not let go of the sequel trilogy. And this Soraya Wilson is like, she's like a huge fan of the sequel trilogy. Apparently, she won't let it go. But in her way of trying to middle finger the fans, all she's doing is proving the fans right, which is really funny.
That's what they do all the time, and that comes out later that the fans were right. There was no. They're like, that's ridiculous. That was like they tried to throw all this shade at Doomcock when he had the leak for episode 9, and he was like 99% right. Mm-hmm. And they were like, he's just a stupid YouTuber. He doesn't even show his face. We don't even know. He's just lying. And it turned out that he was right about everything. But they were like, oh, you got to go see the movie. As long as they get your ass in a seat opening weekend, that's all they care about.
Guess what? We still didn't go see the movie.
Still haven't seen the whole. I've seen clips of it on YouTube.
I haven't even seen that, really.
But I haven't watched it. I have no desire to watch it. To me, the sequel trilogy is apocrypha. I don't acknowledge it as real Star Wars.
I just don't care. I
just don't care anymore. The only thing I even had a little bit of give a shit about was The Mandalorian, and they ruined that too.
Yeah.
So
the moving forward is going to be bad. I mean, I kind of want to see Boba Fett, the show for that though. But I'm just like, the only thing they have going for them that's going positively are the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah.
And the media can't stand it for whatever reason. The only time they mention any of this stuff is when they're trying to get a biscuit or they're trying to get Gina Carano canceled or something.
Yeah.
So, but then, other people say shitty things and they're like, oh my God, they're being harassed. It's like your double standards are just ridiculous. And karma's a bitch. Sorry.
So I think we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
It's going to be really interesting to see what shape Disney Star Wars is in 6 months from now, a year from now, because the last hope they had was The Mandalorian, and they've poisoned that well too. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how it's going to go.
A lot of people are mad.
A lot of people are mad. I think there's going to be more backlash. I think the backlash against the Gina Carano situation is going to be worse than it was against The Last Jedi.
I agree. I think so
for sure. All right, we're going to wrap it up?
Yep.
Okay, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.